Thanks for tuning in to the Maryland Injury Attorney Podcast. This is your host, Attorney Jobeth Bowers. This is where we talk about a variety of topics regarding injuries in the state of Maryland, how to handle them, how to prepare for them, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about how an injury case resolves. Why are we talking about this? A lot of times, one of the first questions somebody calls me when they're talking about an injury case is, do we have to go to court? All right. I'm going to tell you right now, most of the time, no. Does it happen? Yes. But the amount of times that we actually go to trial and actually take a case all the way to verdict is rare. It happens a handful of times every year just in our office. But I would say that roughly 80% of the cases that we handle in my office resolve through a negotiation process and a settlement out of court and without even initiating a lawsuit between our office, you, and the insurance company. It's a conversation that we have. You are looped in, part of the decision-making process. Specifically in my office, when we get an offer from the insurance company, before we even begin to negotiate, we start the conversation with you. You're going to know what they're offering. You're going to know what we think of that offer. And when we phrase that to you, we're going to talk to you about it in terms of if we went to court, this is what we would get or expect to get as a verdict. And it's going to probably be a range. There are different judges that see these cases differently, and juries are definitely unpredictable. But depending on where the accident happened, which county, we've got a rough idea and range for most of these cases on what juries are going to give. Our goal here is to do two things. Number one, get as close to being in that range as we possibly can. And of course, make you happy as our client. We're going to talk about in that conversation, what medical bills might be outstanding, what has to be paid out of the settlement, any expenses our office has incurred, and of course, the attorney's fees. You're going to know before we even start the negotiating process what the bottom line, your walk home money would be. We're then going to talk about where we think we can get the insurance company to go without going into court. We're going to run through all those numbers again, and you're going to know what that bottom line number is. At that point in time and in that conversation, the goal is for us and you, our client, to get on the same page. We put together a game plan, and then we go back to work. We negotiate with the insurance company. And I'll tell you right now, sometimes this takes 2 or 3 weeks. With some insurance companies, it might even take a little bit longer. But the reason that it takes time is that we are there working to lean on them and squeeze every dollar out of them for you. Because at the end of the day, that insurance company is not coming back to me. We love it when our clients come back to us, other than the fact that means they've gotten into another accident. We love it when they refer us business, which is where most of our business comes from anyway. And we only earn that by doing a great job for our clients. We go through that process, we negotiate, get every dollar out of them that we possibly can, and then we have another conversation with you. And there may be a few conversations through the process, but before we move this ball, you know, this is what they're settling it for, and this is what you're going to walk away with. Are we happy? Are we good? Let's go. What happens if that doesn't happen? Well, then we initiate the lawsuit. Does that mean that we're going to court? Still, not necessarily. Of the cases that we file lawsuits in, still only a small percentage actually go to trial. There's a process called discovery, which we'll talk about in another episode, that's really designed by the courts to push the sides together in the negotiation process. And oftentimes, that's where these cases settle. In fact, if you're a client of ours, depending on the insurance company who we're negotiating with to pay this claim, we may tell you that the best strategy for this specific insurance company is to negotiate as far as we can, initiate the lawsuit, and then push them a little bit. And sometimes with some of these companies, that best settlement offer comes 2 to 3 weeks after we filed the lawsuit, well before we ever see the inside of a courtroom. So the cases still settle. And then some of these insurance companies, either A, there's a dispute and a disagreement as to how the accident happened and they don't want to pay at all, or there's a big disagreement in what the case is worth. We do occasionally have to take these cases to trial. We are an office full of trial attorneys. We try these cases as regularly as it makes sense to do so. We are ready and able to put the full court press on these cases and try them if we have to. And we're happy to go to fight for you, our client. So if you have one of these cases and you're worried about going to court, give us a call. We'll take it as far as we need to take it, because at the end of the day, we want you to be happy. And we understand that sometimes that means not going to court. And sometimes that means that we do have to go to court. So thanks for tuning in. This is your Maryland Injury Attorney Podcast. Tune in next time. We'll have great information for you, as we always do. Thank you.